Back straight, eyes closed, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feeling that power you have, your determination to control your breathing. Take control of your mind, anywhere you are, whatever you're doing. Let's use that same power, that same determination to see in our mind the image, the visions that we want to create today in our lives. See ourselves doing the best we can on all of the stretches and exercises we do together here and now. Let's use that power we have, our true being, our presence, our determination to see in our mind right now, go into the future.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without Oppan Gangnam Style.
Rafa de Leganés, lo va a hacer Óscar Rodríguez, lo intenta de manera directa. ¡Golazo, golazo, 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 golazo! ¡Golazo, golazo, 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 golazo! To the back post.
Guys, today Wayne Dyer reminds us to not die with our music still in us. And this goes back to our purpose, finding out what it is that we really love doing and the thing that makes us truly happy. So what is it for you? Is it writing a book? Is it pursuing a talent? Is it doing something that you've always wanted to do, but you've always been afraid to do? Is it simply being the best mother, father, sister, brother, human being you can be? Whatever it is, you can do it. You have to believe it, and you have to understand that you have music inside you. You have something that is unique to you. You were put on this planet for a unique purpose. I finally realized I want to write my book. I want to share my life with people, and it has changed everything. So I challenge you to find what's that music within you. Have a great morning, everyone.
This is going to be a conversation about overall life happiness, not just like in the moment, happiness. Because in the moment of happiness, I mean, we can all kind of get that. A bottle of wine, bag of chips. Maybe it's just me, but I think finding pleasure or joy or in the moment happiness, we can get there. We'll talk about that a little bit, but I want to talk about the big picture. How do we know what will give you enduring happiness? Happiness that you'll self-report throughout your lifespan that, yeah, I have a happy life. It's different than sometimes just in the moment happiness. It has to last longer. And so what psychologists have done is basically broken it up and said, people who are happy over the long term, they tend to look at their lives in very specific ways. And here's how they tend to do it. They tend to break up their life. They look at their past. They're happy with their past. They're happy with their present, and they're happy with where they're going. So they kind of break it up into time zones, right? Past, present, and future. And here's what we found in each of those areas. If you look at your past in this specific way, you'll be more happy. If you look at your present in this specific way, you'll be happier. And if you look at your future in this specific way, you'll be happier over the long term. So let's start with your past, okay? Most people who are unhappy over the quality of their life over the long term, it's because something in the past, they're really hung up on it. They consistently battle it, blame it, are angry about it, are bitter against it. And those who are happy, they don't have that negative emotional range about their entire past. It's not to say that there might not be some things in the past that you can't be unhappy about, or some things that happened that you were upset about, because you know what? It happened to all of us. But those who make it out and have a joyful life, here's what they tend to do. When they look to the past, the first thing they tend to do is accept it. They're like, the past is the past. It did pass, and here we are today. They don't make everything okay. They don't try to validate it. They don't try to say, well, that was supposed to happen. They just go, I got it. The past happened. I have to accept what happened because I can't change it now. I can change how I perceive it, but things happened. I'm going to accept that the past happened for some type of reason, or if anything, maybe I don't ascribe a higher reason to it, but I'm going to say, in general, I'm good with the past. It happened. Today's a new day. And they accept the reality that that time period, that situation, that person, that thing that they didn't like, it's not here anymore. So they can't keep living there. They have to accept that today is today. All of that is gone. Today, they can choose a different life, as we'll talk about. So they accept the past. But here's the thing, they go beyond just acceptance. And this is really important because I think people forget this all the time. It's not just about like accepting the past, okay, that's fine. No, happy people, they generate memories of fondness on a continual basis. They relive the past, not the negative things, but the positive memories. They think about it. Honey, you remember that one vacation we took? And they talk about it today. Hey, do you remember when you were a kid and that funny thing happened? And they relive the positive. Happy people have a sense of nostalgia about the positive things of the past. And they remember that, and their connection to that is more than towards the negative things. And so here's a question to see if you're happy. With your family, with your friends, those around you, are you often reliving positive memories? They tell positive, nostalgic stories about the past without apology. They're not living there. They're not trying to go back and relive the glory days. They're just honoring and appreciating that those days even happened for them. They have a deep sense of fondness and, yes, gratitude to the beautiful moments and memories and people and experiences they got to have. And so I know that might sound almost too easy to say because, maybe in the past you went through some traumatic stuff. Some very difficult moments happened. But by and large, if you can finally get to a point where today you go, okay, I don't have to be cool with everything that happened, but I accept the past. I'm cool. It's over. I am cool today. And I like these little moments. And I'm going to choose to focus and remember those and bring them up to people. Talk about those things. Then I'll feel better about the past. And if you feel better about the past, you have a more solid foundation and a much easier time finding happiness today. Today,
Gangnam Style. 낮에는 따사로운 인간적인 여자 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자 밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자 그런 반전 있는 여자 너는 선호해 낮에는 너만큼 따사로운 그런 선호해 커피 식기도 전에 원샷 때리는 선호해 밤이 오면 심장이 터져버리는 선호해 그런 선호해 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 hey. 그래 바로 너 hey. 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 hey. 그래 바로 너 hey. 지금부터 갈 때까지 가볼까 오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 lady 오빤 강남스타일 정숙해 보이지만 놀 땐 노는 여자 이때다 싶으면 묶었던 머리 푸는 여자 가렸지만 웬만한 노출보다 야한 여자 그런 감각적인 여자 나는 선호해 점잖아 보이지만 놀 땐 노는 선호해 내가 되면 완전 미쳐버리는 선호해 근육보다 사상이 울퉁불퉁한 선호해 그런 선호해 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 hey. 그래 바로 너 hey. 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 hey. 그래 바로 너 hey. 지금부터 갈 때까지 가볼까 오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 lady 오빤 강남스타일 lady 뛰는 놈 그 위에 나는 놈 baby baby 나는 뭘 좀 아는 오빤 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일
Cascante's header only as far as Bale! Oh, what a goal! The 19-year-old, the first of his career, levels the match.
Good afternoon, guys. I remember Stephen Covey sharing some amazing wisdom in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it affected me profoundly when I heard it. And it is this: the way we regard or treat the 1% is going to be the key to how we affect the 99% of people. So what that means is that the 1% of people that may test us the most in terms of our control and our response to things is going to determine how we are regarded and how we treat the rest, the 99%. So the ones that challenge us the most, and we have to ask ourselves again, where is the real challenge? The real challenge is in controlling our minds and how we respond to that 1%. Okay, because everyone is ultimately a one. We're all a one, and we have to remember that. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Science that says there are two minds that are operating at the same time. One is called the conscious mind and one is called the subconscious mind. I say, what's the difference? The conscious mind is where you are as a spirit, an entity, a unique identity. You are in that conscious mind and perceiving the world. I say, what about the subconscious mind? It's not a creative mind. The subconscious mind is habits, things that you've learned and you've experienced in your life, and they become habits. So the subconscious mind is not thinking, creating. It's subconscious mind. Push the button, play the behavior. When we are in our conscious mind, we are connecting our spirituality to the biology and the physical planet that we're in. And that is the creative mind. That's the one you wake up in the morning and say, oh, I wish I had this and I desire that and these are the things I want. And then you go out and start the day, and then guess what? 95% of the day you are not operating from the conscious mind. Science has recognized 95% of the day, because we are thinking 95% of the day, our behavior is now controlled by the subconscious mind. I go, okay, so what's the difference? And the final conclusion of this is the conscious mind with your creativity has your wishes and your desires. The subconscious mind was programmed by other people. Your mother, your father, your siblings, and your community. So what is the difference? You wake up with a wish and a desire of what you want, and then the rest of the day, you play the programs that you got from other people that don't answer your wishes and don't support your desires, and all you see is the consequence of it and go, oh my God, why is it not working? And the answer is because you don't see, because remember the name is subconscious, below conscious. So when that behavior is playing, psychologists will tell us 70% or more of the programs in the subconscious are disempowering, self-sabotaging, and limiting behaviors. So the simple reality is this: we have great wishes and desires, and yet our life is not controlled by that. Our life is controlled by the programming, and that programming is the disempowering program. So all you see is the consequence of the invisible subconscious, which will sabotage all the desires and wishes you have. And then to conclude that, what if you just didn't default to the subconscious? What if you just stayed in the conscious mind? That's called being mindful. And why is it relevant? Because when you stay conscious, keep your mind present, you are the creator of your life. And when people are in mindfulness, they manifest their wishes, their desires, and their happiness. So for all of us, it's sort of a wake-up call. You think you're running your life with your wishes and desires? It's an illusion. You're really running your life with your programs acquired from other people.
80% of our inner dialogue is negative, and 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts that we had yesterday. That's what Beth Handel taught me. She's Gary Vee's life coach. We had an awesome session together, and it really hit home. Imagine that 80% of the thoughts that you've got, 80% are negative. We are beating ourselves up. We are telling ourselves that we can't do things. It's not even our friends and family, the people around us telling us that we suck. It's us, it's ourselves. We tell ourselves we're not good enough, we can't do this, we're not strong enough, smart enough, we're from the wrong country, we look the wrong way, you know, we're too young, we're too old, whatever it is, 80% of our thoughts are negative. And then 95% of those negative thoughts are the exact same negative thoughts that we had yesterday. It's no wonder why we stay small. It's no wonder why we stay stuck, because we've created this reinforcing loop of negativity. This is why I think the world's biggest problem is lack of belief. You know, I'm on a mission every day, wake up, try to make content, try to spread the message to help people believe in themselves more. I think lack of belief is the single biggest problem in the world. And I also believe that everybody has Michael Jordan level genius at something. Like, you are the greatest. You're the greatest in the world at something. And it's not what you went to school for, and it's not what your parents did for a living, probably. It's something completely different. And you have to have the courage to go off and chase it and find it and do it, because the woman who solves cancer should have already solved it by now, but she never believed in herself enough to go to medical school. And now she's a manager in an accounting firm, and she doesn't like her life, right? I mean, this is where most of us are stuck. Most people wake up and they drive to a job that we don't like. Most people are stuck and barely hanging on and do not like their life and feel like they're not contributing, they're not making any kind of difference, they're not doing anything meaningful or impactful at all in the world. That's most people. Like, imagine waking up and that's your daily reality. That may be you. Or that may have been who you were and you're still discovering and trying to improve and get better. But if 80% of those thoughts that come through your head, conscious or unconscious, are negative, I think a lot of conscious thoughts are negative too. Not just the subconscious, the conscious thoughts are negative. You telling yourself that you can't do something and you're not good enough. And then 95% are the same as yesterday, that we just created this loop, this negative thinking loop. So how do we break it? How do we break free? How do we solve that problem? Well, that's the billion-dollar question, and that's what I wake up every day trying to fix. And I can give you a couple things that I've worked on and I've found helpful and hopefully helps move the needle. They don't have all the answers, but some of these might help. The first one is to change your environment. The environment makes such a huge difference for who you are and your daily habits and what you believe about yourself. And the environment is not just the people who are around you, although that definitely helps. You know, if you've got negative friends or family around you, you want to eliminate them completely or spend a lot less time with them, because it's really, really, really hard to have a beautiful plant grow when it's just, you know, toxic waste being poured on top of them. Doable, but really, really, really difficult. And so changing that can really help. And one of the best ways I found to do it is content. It's content. It's why I make so much content for these channels, that hopefully you wake up today and there's a piece of content there waiting for you, whether it's me or showcasing somebody else. Across all my channels, we're making multiple pieces of content every single day to try to hit it in the right way. Maybe today's message with the right voice is the one that makes a difference for you. And if you can shift the amount of entertainment you're doing, or just shutting off the world, some of the content that you consume just helps you shut off the world and escape, versus educational content that helps you learn, improve, get better, and solve the problem, right? Entertainment is let's forget about the problem and just laugh at something else. Education is let's learn to actually fix the problem that is happening in our life, right? I want to lean in on that a lot more. It doesn't mean that entertainment doesn't exist in your life. It's not only education, but if you can shift the needle towards education, to be around the people who inspire you, even if you've never met them, it can really move the needle for your inner dialogue and your self-confidence. So the thing that saved me in my first business in doing this was modeling Bill Gates from Microsoft. When I quit on my business partner, I struggled. I didn't know I felt worthless. Nothing was working. I was working every day and just no results. And in looking at Bill Gates' story, that changed my life. It saved my business. It allowed me to keep going because now I had a little bit of hope that, if Bill Gates could do it, maybe I could too. And the more you surround yourself with those people, the more you'll feel like you can do it too. So do an audit. How many people in your life, the actual humans that you know, and also just the people that you subscribe to, that you follow, how many of them make you feel better about yourself? And for too many people, it's not enough. It's look at who you follow on YouTube. Look at who you subscribe to. Look at who you're connecting with on Instagram. If you're loading your phone and you're going through Instagram or you're watching YouTube videos, how many times have you gone through it and all of a sudden an hour has gone by and you were mindlessly watching videos, or even worse, made you feel worse about yourself? You ever felt that? You watch a video and then you feel worse about yourself afterwards, or you're following somebody and it makes you feel worse about yourself? You have a choice to unfollow those people. This is not Instagram's fault or YouTube's fault. You can take accountability here. You have a choice to unfollow those people, and then a choice to follow the people who make you feel better about yourself. That's my aim with all these videos. I want to leave you with strategies, but also more belief in yourself at the end of every video. And if I do that, awesome. You want more belief in your life? Come back. Another shot of espresso tomorrow morning. We're here. And if I don't do that, cool. Thank you for giving it a shot. And don't quit on that. Go find somebody else who gives you the motivation, inspiration that you need. And so you can make a conscious choice, because it's so easy to stay stuck. It's so easy to stay small. It's so easy to be the one that pours into other people and not have anybody pour into us. And you need to make a conscious choice to raise your environment, to change your environment. And it doesn't mean you have to go move to a different country or move to a fancier house or anything else. You start by just changing who you associate with, even at a mass scale, right? I've learned a lot from Steve Jobs. I've been inspired by Oprah Winfrey. My favorite entrepreneur of all time is A.P. Giannini, who started Bank of America. These are people who I've never met, and in the case of Jobs and Giannini, I never, will meet because they passed. But I've been inspired by them, and they've made me better, and they've taught me, and I've learned from them, and they've inspired me, and I get courage from them because I've consumed their content. And you can do that too. It's just being intentional about it, so that when you raise your environment, you raise your life. The second thing is try not to do it alone. It's really hard to go after a goal, to change your mindset, to accomplish big things when you're doing it all by yourself. This is why a lot of people quit, because you might have one amazing day, or you watch the right video, or you have the right experience, and it's like, I want it. This is the life I want. You ever had that, right? Like, this is the life that I want. This is who I want to be. This is where I could go. You have a glimpse of a potential future that you could be. It's like, I want that. And you actually feel in your heart that you can be that. You can accomplish that, right? Has that happened to you? And then what happens? The next day you wake up and it's kind of gone. And then the next day it's completely gone. And then you're back to your old life and the limiting beliefs and the habits. And you gain back the 20 pounds. And like, how did I end up back here? I thought I fixed this, right? Has that ever happened to you? A lot of it is because you're doing it alone. And this took me a long time to figure out. As an introverted person, as a shy person, as somebody who doesn't like asking for help, as someone who's afraid of disappointing people, being a part of a community it just sounds super scary to me. We just did our 7-day challenge for Built to Serve, and a bunch of people joined Movement Makers. We had almost 100 people join Movement Makers at the end of it. And it's people who want to be thought leaders and want to be speakers and authors and coaches and course creators and membership creators and all of this stuff. It's a big impact to spread your message. And I was giving people a lot of not just encouragement, but respect. Like the people who ended up joining, I just had incredible respect for, because I wouldn't have done it. If I go back to 19-year-old Evan, when I started my first business, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have had the courage to do it. I wouldn't have joined the group. We had people sharing their videos, like, tell us about your who, your why, your how. It's this methodology from the book, but make a video, sharing your purpose and your biggest pain of all time, and some of these, kind of deep things that you have to record and share. And I mean, it was optional, not everybody did it. But in doing that, for a lot of people, it was their first video that they've ever done. For a lot of people, it was the first time they've even shared their story to anybody. They were sharing things in the group that they hadn't told their spouse, or their family, or their best friend. And now they're making a video in their car, sharing their story. And you see them become liberated. You see them start super scared and afraid and unsure and fixing their hair and apologizing for the lighting not being good, and then being in the car and not knowing what they're doing, to then just seeing the transformation of somebody going through the cocoon, being a caterpillar and turning into a butterfly and sharing their story for the first time. And I was in awe because I couldn't imagine me doing that at 19 when I started my first business. I was too afraid to join a community. I was too afraid of being judged. I was too afraid of being not good enough. And that kept me small. It kept my growth really slow. Fortunately, I kept going. If you've seen my chart on my website where I show how much I've grown every year, over year, over year, over year, where I've been, took 5 years to get to 7,000 subscribers or something like that. And I just kept going. And the one thing that I've got was just tenacity and drive, and I will just keep going in the face of adversity. But I made it just incredibly hard on myself, being alone, not being open to sharing with my friends what I was struggling with, and never joining a community. So I think that can really help you. I think trying to go and change your mindset and accomplish big things that nobody around you has done yet. And there are some days that you feel incredibly inspired and motivated and powerful. It's like, yeah, I can do this. But you're probably not living there most of the time. What if you did? Or what if you lived kind of close to that most of the time?
Now watch me whip, kill it. Now watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip, whip. Watch me nay nay. Why me do it? Now watch me whip, kill it. Watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip, whip. Watch me nay nay. Can you do it? Now watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, okay, ooh, okay, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, you do it? Watch me, watch me, you do it? Okay, ooh, do the stanky leg, 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 do the stanky leg. Now break your legs, break them. Break your legs, break them. Tell them break your legs, break them. Break your legs, break them. Down and break your legs, break them. Break your legs, break them. Down and break your legs, break them. Break your legs, break them. Now I me bop, 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 bop. Now I me bop, 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 bop. Now watch me whip, hey. Now watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip, whip. Watch me nay nay. Why me do it? Now watch me whip, kill it. Watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip, whip. Watch me nay nay. Can you do it? Now watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, okay, ooh, okay, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, okay, ooh. Now I mean you, now I mean Superman. Okay. Now I mean you, now I mean Superman. Okay. Now I mean you, now I mean Superman. Okay. Now I mean you, now I mean Superman. Okay. Now I mean you.
Lewandowski, ależ pięknie to zrobił, uwolnił się, poszedł, ruszył Robert Lewandowski w pole karne, szuka miejsca do oddania strzału, Lewandowski, oj, 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 jak to zrobił, co za akcja, marzenie, Robert, jesteś wielki. Se va la barrera, mira,
Good evening, guys. I want to share with you another funny story from Les Brown, and this is from his speech in the Georgia Dome. He was providing an example where he was so determined and so resilient in trying to get a job as a DJ, a disc jockey, that he would go every day. Every time he got rejected by the gentleman he was trying to get a job from, he would still go back every day. And that gentleman would get frustrated. He would be saying, "What do you want now?" You know, and Les Brown would give reasons and, you know, as to why he was showing up every day. And the funniest reason was, and this was after I don't know how many times of going back and forth, Les Brown said to him, because the guy asked him, said to him, "What do you want now? I told you there's no jobs here." And then he said, "Well, I didn't know if anybody got sick or died, sir." And I thought, that is incredible. I mean, it's funny because obviously we don't want anybody to die, but these things happen in life, and Les Brown was ready to take that chance or that opportunity. Have a great evening, everyone.
Most of the things that I guess other people might see as failure, I don't see as failure. What's a failure? A video didn't do well? Like I choked on a hair while I was talking? And I guess a lot of the things that most people would see as failure, I don't see as failure. I don't even see it as feedback. It just was, and now we're moving on. I don't look backwards, right? It's like, okay, whatever, that's done, cool, let's go. Forward. Oh, you have feedback for me? Cool. I filmed without the microphone. Was that a failure? I see it as a win. I don't think I take big enough risks to ever have a real failure. Like if I mortgaged my house to make this day like insane, and Danny says, hey, to make this thing fly, we need Val Kilmer riding in on an elephant, like crashing through the front door. And then that had to work, or I lost my house. That's a failure to me. So everything else is all manageable. I think it's a strength and a weakness. It limits how much upside I have, but this also means there's zero downside.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I quit on my business partner. I struggled to keep going. I was making $300 a month and felt like a complete failure. And the thing that saved me, that pulled me up, was studying the stories of famous entrepreneurs. I got the motivation from them. I also got the strategies of what to do next so that I can go off and achieve my dreams. And quite honestly, I still need the stories today myself to continue my motivation to take it to the next level. So today you get to learn from me and my team's take on my top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Rule number 2 is change your environment.
The fastest way to change your habits is to change your environment. You ever notice how when you're in a different environment, maybe you go on vacation, maybe you go to an event or seminar, you start doing different things? You are still you, and you do some of the things that you used to do, but all of a sudden you're doing new things that become a part of your regular routine. You ever been away for a couple weeks and discover that you built up some new habits, and maybe some are healthy, maybe some are unhealthy. But if you've ever been away and you notice that you've picked up some new habits, why? Well, it's because the environment demanded it, because everybody else was doing it, because it was so easy, natural, comfortable to do that, that's why you do it too. And so if you want to be able to switch your habits quickly, you change your environments. Now, you may not always be able to go on vacation or go to events or seminars, so those are options. But it starts with you figuring out, well, what are the habits that you want to develop? Who are the people that you want to be around? And when you are around those people, you will start to think differently, which will lead to you behaving differently. When you see other people doing it, you're going to want to do it more. When it's in your environment more, you're going to want to do it more too.
Rule number 3 is chase fulfillment.
You don't know what the final product is you're trying to get, because if it's an internal fulfillment, if it's a feeling, you can't quantify that. And if you can't quantify it, you can't reverse engineer it. So my mind is wired numbers, but like my heart is going more towards the helping and serving, but you can't map that out to break down steps. So it's like a dichotomy.
I hear you, but you kind of can, in that the feeling of fulfillment that you're chasing. How many times when you've been in a room with a lot of people or just with one person that you've helped, do you leave feeling more fulfilled? Often. So that's how you quantify it. Put you in a room with somebody who needs help, and you'll 80% of the time come out with more fulfillment. That's what I said, like that's the missing piece, is you're not feeling the connection. You're all push, 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 and no hug. It's like you need the feeling, because, okay, I had 1,000 Instagram followers, now 2,000 or whatever it is. Like it doesn't mean enough, because it's a momentary, you cross that number, but there's no heart. The hard is when you're talking, and you're actually very good at it. You say you're not just all mind. You're great at connecting to people and helping them. You do it naturally. More than anybody on my whole tour. We did it in every city. I went across America. You were like the only guy who didn't talk about himself and like used his time to help the other people. So you're naturally great at it. You're just not putting yourself in the position to do it. And so you can XO quantify it. If you were to twice a week do something with somebody else who needs help, 80% of the time you're going to come out feeling more fulfilled. Like I'm kick-ass at what I do. I'm so happy that I had that conversation with that person, because you're actually good at it. And it's like, if you sucked at it, then it might be 25%, but you're actually really good at it. So 80-90% of the time you're going to come out feeling more fulfilled, which then gives you the courage and the motivation to then stay consistent, because you're all push, but there's no consistency. When you can match the push and the hug, then you'll stay consistent because you feel that it's fulfilling. If you're not fulfilled, you won't stay consistent. It's just a little thing to chase, like, oh, I'm going to start and stop and start and stop, right? But if you actually felt fulfilled in the work, like, this is meaningful, this was really cool, I want to do it again, you'll stay more consistent on all the work.
Rule number 4 is step out of your comfort zone.
Feel that? Feel that power? That oneness of us controlling our breathing and our minds? Right here, right now? No matter how hard our movements, exercises were today, no matter how much our body tried to take control of our minds, feel that? That's you. The real you. That's our consciousness. Our being awake fully. To control our minds, to control our breathing, to control our bodies, to control our lives. It's all possible through the power of you being present, staying in the now, right here, right now, wherever you are, wherever you are. There is no past and future right now. There's only the present, the gift that is you. The being that is you, which makes everything else possible.